Cinephile. Mike is here, and it is day 9 of Award Season Review, Season 3. 97 reviews in 97 days, covering many of the films up for awards contention this year in early 2025, or we should say late 2024. Some of those awards are already starting to roll in. All of the information I'm sharing with you, the information is current within 7 days of recording. I'll be giving you the critical response, the box office information, insight into its awards run so far, my updates on predictions or nominations, depending where we fall into the year, and most importantly, these reviews are spoiler free. Also, please make sure you check out my website, cinephilemike.com, where you can find the ever important and informative and beloved Where Can I Watch It Spreadsheet 2024 edition, where you can track all of the nominations for the different award shows, and most importantly, how do I see these films? So many to keep track of, I do the homework for you. So, we are in our second week, and it is Gotham week. The Gotham Awards were this week, and this is now our push into award season. The 7 films I'm covering this week were nominated for at least one Gotham Award, and we'll see where else they end up as we go. Of last year's 7 Gotham Award winners, almost all of them made it to Oscar nods or wins, so it's a good predictor. And today is Studio Canals' mostly based on a true story, The Outrun, written by the film's director Nora Fingscheidt and Amy Liptrot, who adapted her own memoir for this film. The film had its UK premiere at the Edinburgh International Film Festival and then opened domestically earlier this fall. During its brief run, the film made $1,013,867 domestically and an additional $3,482,548 internationally for a current worldwide total of $4,496,415. Critically, the film is pretty balanced between the critics and the audience. As per our usual source, Rotten Tomatoes, film has an 81% critical score from 150 reviews and an 83% popcorn meter based on over 50 ratings. The film was nominated for one Gotham Award in the lead performance category for its star, featured in the poster here, Saoirse Ronan. Also, and we'll see how it fares, the film was just announced for 9 nominations at the British Independent Film Awards. Best British Independent Film, Best Director, Best Lead Performance, Best Screenplay, Best Music, Best Cinematography, Best Sound, Best Editing, and Best Makeup and Hair. So this is a lot of fight that is going for at the British Independent Film Awards. So what's this one about? Well, at the start of the outrun, the booze is a-flowing, even though the party is over for Rona, played by Ronan. I don't think that was intentional. Before she is picked up and tossed to the London street curb, quite literally. Cut to a bruised face in a doctor's office, and then time jump 117 sober days later to her back in her childhood home on the island of Orkney in Scotland. Having left her 90-day program, Rona has returned home to put her life back together. Not all is as it was when Rona left about 10 years ago, and things are much more quieter and lonely now. She's living in the house with her mom, Annie, played by Saskia Reeves, and spends her days working on her dad, Andrew, played by Stephen Dellane's little farm, feeding the animals, lambing, and trying to figure out what's next as she goes between her parents. And as we follow Rona on this journey, we will revisit several moments from the last 10 or so years that led her here, from volatile drunken outbursts, both in bars or at home with her boyfriend, Danon, played by Papa Asaidu, to reflecting on her own dad's episodes as a result of a mental illness that he suffers from and how that impacted her as a child and the troubles while she's trying to study biology in London. So as we go through, any situation like this, it's not going to be easy and it won't be smooth, but we will follow Rona as she heads to Orkney for an adventure that I will not spoil here. Right off the bat, I'm sure no one's going to be surprised when I say this. Ronan is a fierce powerhouse in this film. She commands the screen in the 95% of which we are watching her. There's very little time she is not on screen with us. In many ways, Rona almost seems to be an alternative spiritual continuation of her role in Lady Bird, which was truly endearing. Mini spoiler for the ending of Lady Bird. Lady Bird makes some changes in the Greta Gerwig film, but say she hadn't and continued on the path she was in, I won't spoil that, but it might be where she ends up becoming Rona, which could have been one of the things that spoke to Ronin about taking the film. And I have to say, unlike most of the films Ronan is in, this one really does squarely land on her shoulders, and she really carries it off beautifully. There are two scenes in particular that have really stayed with me in the months since I've seen this film. One being one of the flashbacks of her volatile drunken outbursts, and the other is towards the end, which I want to say it's so musical. Like the shared work done by composers John Gertler and Jan Misseri and the sound designers Jonathan Shore and Oscar Stibitz, like it's ear candy. It's absolutely spectacular to hear. And additionally, not just for this scene, but as a whole, the varied camera work done by cinematographer Eunice Roy Eimer is a delight to watch. From the shaky cam shots of Rona's bouts to steady cam of more sobering moments, we underscore the action beautifully, everything we're seeing. Lipton and Fingscheidt's script, I mean, look, the script is tight, even if it does fall into some of the tropes that other films of the ilk that deal with addiction and recovery present. And I'm not making light of it, but there have been a lot of films that have done this before. But these performances are strong, and they do go a little bit raw than some of what we've seen in other films. But I will say, for anyone that's familiar with Lipton's work, if you're familiar with the original novel, that is not what you are going to get here. It serves as a source material, but even Lipton changed the name of the protagonist. So what we're getting is a fictionalized version of the writer, and many of the circumstances have changed. And it's not to detract you from the film, but just something to think about because having read the book, I was actually able to appreciate the changes they made for a cinematic purpose. But some of the tropes and things that were in the book, I was like, think that would have maybe made the film just a little bit stronger if we veered a little closer to the source material. So, although it's a bit predictable, again, there are some genuine, honest, and raw portrayals here of overcoming addiction. And again, Ronan, not enough I can say. Now, as for other award season love, Ronan could be a front runner for Best Actress. We know the Academy does appreciate her. She's had several nominations in the past. But as sometimes we see, her votes could be split between this and a very strong supporting turn in Steve McQueen's Blitz, streaming on Apple Plus. I recommend. Might pop up this season. Don't know yet. Um, and then it could either be a cancel out where people go for one the other and it doesn't move, or it could be a situation where she's one of those rarities where she pops up in both categories one year. I mean, stranger things have happened. But the competition is really starting to heat up now. There's a lot of good films coming out that are vying for these titles, so I'm not sure. Also, moving on from that, based on the film, I would like to see Best Sound and Best Cinematography nominated for this one because it really did floor me. I don't know if those will cross into the categories at the Oscars, but if not, I'd almost guarantee it could pop up for those categories at the BAFTAs. But again, this film is visually stunning to say the least, and it will be very interesting to see how it plays out over other awards this season. In all, The Outrun is a solid 4-star film. If you would like to watch The Outrun and haven't had a chance to yet, it is currently available on for digital rental on pretty much all platforms. There's no streaming information yet as to when it will be available. So, there we have it. 9 down, 88 to go. Feels so far, but before you know it, we are going to be there. As always, if you like what you heard here today, please do me a favor, click that subscribe button, like the video, spread the word. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. If you follow me on social media, pretty soon you'll be able to start participating in some polls that I'll be sending out, asking you to help me choose which films I do on certain weeks. If there's a certain film you want to see me talk about, shoot me a message, drop a comment on the video. Head to my website, cinephilemike.com. There's so much great additional content that I'm not even touching on in these videos. You are absolutely going to love it. All right, everybody, until tomorrow, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.